She just loved to bring out, to notice what was happening in people's brilliant minds.
She was the Napoleon.
She brought the goodness out in the people.
That dream of hers still continues to be implemented, and it'll go on for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime.
And that is the single, solitary, most important objective is that no one be denied an education that will benefit them. That is the beginning and the end of Native American studies as I perceive it, as an educational tool to speak to the charge of this college to serve different people better.
Mary Ellen Hillaire taught in the Native American Studies program at Evergreen State College from the school's opening in 1971 until her death in 1982. During those 11 years, she was a tireless advocate for Indian students within the college. Mary saw Evergreen's special mandate and flexibility as an opportunity to create a unique higher education program for the state's Native American population. She wanted a parallel school within Evergreen, based on Native American values and traditions and designed for Native American students. The possibilities for real change at this alternative institution were immediately apparent to Mary.
In my mind, the main problem in higher education is the absence of the ultimate authority for excellence. And as an educator, I feel the people who are not only the generators of the values of Native American people, but who establish the main direction and intention of our culture are the elders. And of course, for the past 200 years, grievously so, the elders have been not only absent, but rejected from this position.
Mary taught that the four foundations of learning for Native students were music, talk, dance, and art. These were the disciplines that each student must be versed in to have a complete education. She brought weavers, storytellers, and dancers into the classrooms. The four disciplines that we have talked about have been completely drawn like true threads through all your talk. The first one is Indian music, which in the literary sense is the Indian stories, because a lot of them are interchangeable. Mm-hmm. Then Indian dance, that is the art form of Indian people, and then what we call talk, which engulfs and involves everything that has communicative qualities. And then the last is art, which I feel has been performed from the symbolizing of ideas that have come from ideal relationships. And it's astounding how compact these have been as they are defined in the values and the culture and the attitudinal history of Indian people, and they've been sustained. They've pulled right through.
Dedicated to the care and the service of Native American people of this state, designed to allow them to maintain the cultural heritage, the beautiful character of past communities, and reestablish within the federal and state governments a relationship that will redefine the sovereignty that lives in our hearts, the culture that we did not surrender, and the future for our young people, aspiring to be all that is in them to become.
She delivered her message in a very straightforward way and continuous, and she would talk for hours. And so we'd come in like at 9 or so in the morning and sit down, and sometimes class didn't let up even for a lunch break until 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And she just held us, me anyway, I was spellbound. It was wonderful.
It is through our hope in the direction that this institution and institutions like it can manage the change that will allow such hospitality, that will be dedicated to such hope as to maintain the steady voice of Indian culture in this land. Again, this land that's our land.
In the late 70s, Mary began to discuss the idea of a longhouse at Evergreen. She envisioned a Native American center where all people would be welcome to come, talk, eat, celebrate, and learn. Her hope was that people from different backgrounds could come together and establish what she called a footing of mutual understanding.
And one day we hope that within the intrinsic building composition of this institution, we will build a home for Native American people. In this hope, we kind of designed this place as though one might, closing their eyes, see the character, the nature, and the symbol of our way of living together. Some call it a longhouse, some call it a roundhouse, some call it a smokehouse, which is dear to my way of thinking, because that's what we called our homes. But whatever it was called, it defined the practical responsibility of hospitality.
After Mary's death, some of her students redoubled their efforts to get the longhouse built. 13 years later, the building was finally completed. Today it stands as a testament to Mary's legacy at Evergreen and to the vision she inspired in others.
Her life, I think, never ends. I think it's her dream certainly will never end. Her life, we mention her name every time we meet in the Longhouse. This is the first state college that ever built a longhouse on their college, and that's a recognition of our Indian people. That's a great event that took place here in Evergreen College. This college is very unique. Mary knew that, and tried to set it in the institution in a way to involve Indian tribes and Indian people, Today we have satellites out on reservations. We're educating our people out there. None of this could be done if we all weren't working together and recognized each other and respected one another. It's very important that we keep talking like this, and we keep making educational tools like this that's being made right now to talk about one of our great ladies, and that was Mary Hillaire.
And I feel that most education, if it's going to be functional, is community composition, how people learn to live with each other, establishing the kind of value system, designing the relationships or the culture, and establishing a freedom of attitude that will allow people again to address the three concepts: identity, group loyalty, individual authority.